from Microsoft.
Eminent speakers on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Vikas from Microsoft. I'll pick up a couple of threads from the earlier sessions because I'm going through what suits me. That's where my approach is structured. So I'll pick up the thread of smart city from what Mr. Premnath described about. He laid some foundation on what smart city is all about and what government of India is doing on that. So I'll talk about that. I'll also touch upon something which Reena Madam said, that how do we make every city smarter, because we really can't say that we are going to build smart cities from grounds up only and existing cities will be left behind, because we need to have every city turned into a smarter city, cities into which we live today also need to be turned into a smarter city, not only the ones which are going to come up tomorrow, because we are living in today, we are not living in tomorrow. I'll also touch upon how does M2M get connected to this topic, because M2M essentially becomes the underlying layer when we talk about smarter cities. But then M2M is not the only layer. That's something which I want to emphasize and highlight very clearly out here. Because M2M is more about sensors, more about networks, how do we pull various data elements, how do we collect them together, how do we analyze that, and how do we act on that. So putting sensors, getting data, collecting it together, analyzing is not much rocket science today, the way technology is advanced. A lot of technology tools exist for that. A lot of technology companies like ours provide solutions for that. But what goes into that is much more deeper. So when we talk about smart, we need to talk about both what we want to do now and the wow factor. That's why factor is now and wow. So I'll describe quickly what I mean by smart in terms of now and smart in terms of wow. But before that, just a quick pointer on why are we talking about cities and smarter cities. The simple fact is that people are migrating from rural to urban areas despite whatever money we have been spending as a country in rural development. So there have been multiple schemes, plethora of money being spent across over the last 50 years talking about rural development, ranging from schemes like employment guarantee schemes to health, to education, to transportation. Everything is being done what can be done probably. But still people are migrating. And this trend of migration from rural to urban areas is not unique to India. It's happening around the world, even in advanced economies. Even in advanced economies, people are migrating. So it's not that probably we are a country which is less developed, or we are a developing country, so that's why people have to move from rural to urban areas. No. This trend is there in all the countries all around the world. People are moving. Reasons can vary. Reasons can be in search of better employment, in search of better health, in search of better opportunities, in search of better education, or overall in search of better life. The reasons may vary from people to people, place to place. But this migration is happening. Now, as this migration is happening, at the same time, budgets are coming down. Budgets are dwindling or budgets are remaining static. So the city authorities have less and less money or the same money, and they have to cater to more and more people. So on one part, the money remains the same, but it actually gets reduced if you talk about the value of the money in the present tense. And also, they have got lots of more and more people coming up over there. So there's an imbalance over there. And the way we define smart and the way I define smart, I think smartness lies in how do we optimize what we have to serve who are going to come and join us. So how do we optimize our current infrastructure? How do we transform our processes? How do we transform our operations so that with the same budgets, with the same kind of infrastructure, which anyway is overstretched, we are able to cater to more and more people, and we are able to cater to them effectively. We are able to justify their search for a better life. We are able to justify their quest for a better life. This is what smart should actually be all about. Then probably we can talk about M2M, we can talk about sensors, how do we put sensors over there, how do we put technology over there, how networks will bring the data up, how networks will bring the data to the server room, and how will we process and all that stuff. But before that, we need to understand what actually goes in a city, what a city is actually comprising of. A city essentially comprises of people. People like you and me, we all live in cities. And what do we need over there? So city is smart, a city is smarter if it's able to do things better for you and for me. Then we would call the city a smart city. So based on that definition, when we talk about now and wow, so when we say wow, what we're trying to say is yes, since M2M has advanced to a great stage, we have new technology, we have a lot of new things coming up, a lot of innovative things happening all around us. So the wow factor is very easily identifiable, it's very easily imaginable. It's about moving from current stage to a rocketed stage where everything gets done on wireless, everything is self-driven, everything, you get information in a flash, you control things from remote, you get information on a laptop and a cell phone, and everything can be controlled, and lots of things. But that wow factor translates into some reality also. So one thing which I'll call as a wow factor is something which we call as smart grid, wherein every power consumption unit, by unit I don't mean unit of power, what I mean is that every household or any entity like a building or any establishment, every power consumption unit also becomes a power generation unit. So it not only draws power from the grid, it also gives power back to the grid. How is it possible? Very much possible, because if we put solar power converters then probably there would be some buildings, there would be some households which have those solar power cells placed over there, which are generating energy for them, and probably that energy is not being used fully within that building. So that building has excess energy with itself now. Now what do we do with this energy? Shall we let it go waste, or shall we pump it back into the grid? So that's one part of it. But that requires a very, very advanced form of technology which exists today. But can we induct the technology into our cities today? I think no. We have got some way to cover, because before we talk about drawing energy back, we need to talk about supplying energy to whomsoever who needs energy. We need to talk about stopping the filtrage, we need to talk about stopping the leakage, we need to talk about transmission loss and distribution loss. So lots of ground to be covered before we go to WOW. Another factor another terms in which we can talk about WOW is when we talk about cities which are being built from grounds up. So when we talk about some place like Lavasa, which is a city which is going to come up, or when we talk about cities which DMICTC is planning, or when we talk about new cities which probably are being funded by MOUD and something like a new Raipur coming up on a bare, barren piece of land. So there probably the city planners, the administrator, the technologists, the architect, everyone has the luxury of planning to put in M2M sensors as a layer even before people start occupying the city. So M2M goes as a part of planning process over there when we start building a city. But then coming to now, the cities which exist today, where you and we all live, Bombay, Delhi, Chennai, the smaller towns, Lucknow, the smaller cities like Lucknow, like Jaipur, Chandigarh. So what do we do over there? We really can't turn them upside down. We can't say, okay, we'll remove everything, we'll erase everything from an eraser, and we'll start building up layer by layer once again. No, we really can't do that. So we need to go deep down into existing infrastructure. We need to go deep down into existing systems and start making them smarter one by one, or maybe together, as the case may be. And this is what this slide describes. If you look over here, we can divide the essential city functions into 8 silos or 8 verticals as one may look at it. The fact is, as cities grew, as industrial revolution caught on, as cities grew, most of the city functions actually evolved and developed in silos. So some governments are focusing on administration, some are focusing on justice, some are focusing on transportation, some probably were focusing on each of these, but with different authorities in place, different establishments in place. So different departments, different authorities, different jurisdictions, looking at these things in isolation, in silos. That's a fact which we really can't overrule now, which we really can't turn around now. Now, today, if we are building a city from scratch, then probably we can look at these silos, not as silos, but verticals, which need to be built up independent of each other for some part of it, but tightly integrated with each other for most part of it. So when we are talking about building a new city, we need to think about all these 8 verticals, all the functions within these verticals, and to see what are the common touch points. How do we build an integrated function over there so that a city administrator, a city manager, a city leader gets an integrated picture to plan, an integrated picture to manage, an integrated picture to take decisions, an integrated picture to execute. So an integrated picture can emerge out over there. But then cities which already have grown up in these functions, these silos, why can't we pick these silos one by one and start putting smarter tools over there, start putting smarter transformational ideas over there? It's not only about technology, it's also about how do we manage our operations, how do we transform the way we work, how do we transform the way we actually manage things over there. So why can't we pick them up one by one, or maybe a couple of them together, or maybe all of them together? As I said, as the case may be. There might be some cities, there might be some places wherein probably most of these come under jurisdiction of a single authority. Not all of these come under jurisdiction of a single authority in India at least. But probably in some cities, some of these will come under jurisdiction of 1 or 2 authorities. So can't we talk to those authorities, pick those things first up, and then start putting some layer of automation to the extent it's required. And more than automation, we start putting a layer of re-engineering processes over there, efficient processes over there, so that the way things actually are implemented, we transform that. The way things are leveraged, the way we leverage our infrastructure, the way we talk about processes, we transform them to deliver more and to deliver better. So this is what I feel smart city is all about. A blank slate, very good. We talk about all the 8 things all together. We have something over there, pick up things wherever they are. So let's say there's a city which is a different stage of maturity in each of these verticals. A different stage of maturity not only in terms of technology, but also in terms of its functioning. So let's say education is at some level today, health is at some another level today. So let's check what that level today is. Let's check where we want to go or where we need to go in terms of existing population. And furthermore, people are going to come and land up over there. Let's do that assessment over there. And then let's see how do we use technology as a leverage, as a multiplier, to multiply what we have with us, to deliver more and to deliver better. This is what the concept should actually be all about. So it's important to talk about sensors, it's important to talk about technology, but the actual starting point can't be sensors, the actual starting point has to be people. Because essentially cities are about people, cities are about you and me. So what is it that people are coming to cities for? Why is it that you and me, we continue to live in cities, we don't migrate back to rural areas? Why is it that we want our kids also to stay with us in cities only? What are we exactly looking at? What facilities do we think we are entitled to? What services we need? What are we getting? What are the gaps? So it's essentially about people. People, their requirement, their aspirations, the opportunities, the innovations, everything happening around us in terms of people. And technology actually needs to turn itself around, all around the people. Technology needs to be used as people want it to be used. So that's the first thing. So what we need to do when we talk about smart city is we need to engage with our constituents. The constituents will be citizens, there will be migrants, there will be businesses. So we need to understand what do they need, what are we providing, what are the gaps, can those gaps be fulfilled or not, what actually is happening over there, how do we get the pulse of that city, what actually is being delivered, what is not being delivered, what's working, what's not working, what's working but not working that good, and how do we overcome that. So that's the first part of it. Second part is every city would have multiple challenges today. Now I'm not talking about the new cities, because when we talk about new cities, probably we can do a grounds up thing. I'm talking about the existing cities. When we want to make them smarter, when we want to make them more sustainable, when we want to make them more livable, we are going to have multiple problems, and each of those problems probably would have multiple solutions. But can we do everything together? No, we really can't do that. So we need to identify, we need to prioritize, and we need to plan for it. We need to identify what are the major problems which afflict most of us today. In India and most of the countries abroad, when people have been talking about putting smart infrastructure in place for cities, typically the first priority areas have been sanitation and waste disposal, it has been water management, it has been parking, which might be surprising to many of us, but parking is a major issue in most of the cities and has been taking priority over some other things like education in many cities around the world. And then comes citizen safety, energy efficiency, building plans, property tax. So this is more a list based on averages around the world, but actual requirements may vary from city to city, or it may vary from community to community also. So maybe in some city, parking is not a major issue, the city is vast spread out, it is about vast tracts of land, and parking actually is not an issue for people. So probably you can strike it off the list. So it's about identifying what ails us, identifying what do we need to do, prioritizing within that, and then planning for that. When I say planning for that, planning essentially is not only about putting some technology or putting more funds over there. It's also about planning on how would we use technology and funds to transform our scenario from today to what we want to do tomorrow. So transformation is a key word over there when we talk about planning. Using the funds, using technology to transform our operations, to transform our infrastructure, to transform our lives. That's a key word over there. And further, how do we accelerate the pace of innovation? So whatever we are doing, whatever we have, how do we further innovate that? How do we build further on that? How do we accelerate the pace of innovation and we create new opportunities for everything around us and for everyone around us? Moving on further, 4 technology megatrends which actually help us in building what I'm talking about. So today there are technology trends like mobility, social, Facebook, LinkedIn, things like that, grammar, cloud and big data. Now these today are not merely technology terms, they're not merely technology fads. They are the reality of this technology world, and these things coupled with end-to-end sensors as a layer, the moment you start using these megatrends, it becomes a lethal combination to transform your operations, to transform the way we work, to transform the way we live. It becomes a very lethal combination. To give an example, when we talk about cost saving and sharing and collaboration, cloud is a beautiful piece for doing that. Now what cloud does? It makes available one infrastructure to multiple people. So you can talk about sharing, you can talk about cost sharing, you can talk about resource sharing, you can talk about cost splitting, you can also talk about collaboration, because everything is in the cloud, then no one is physically owning anything, so every department has equal right to go and access that, assuming the rights are being given accordingly. So it becomes a sort of medicine for multiple ailments. Similarly, if we talk about big data is more about gathering data from multiple places. So if we got end-to-end sensors all around the place, we got cameras, we got motion sensors, we got smoke sensors, we got fire sensors, we got other kinds of sensors all around the place. We bring in the data. We also bring in data from weather, what the climate is all about. We bring in data from social websites, what people are talking to each other, what kind of messaging is happening on Twitter, what kind of messaging is happening on Facebook, what is the public sentiment, and we collate them together. And then we bring out some picture out of that. So if people are moving from, let's say if traffic is moving from point A to point B, at the same time there's going to be some natural disaster over there, some warning has come in, At the same time, some concert is happening in another part of the city. At the same time, there's a breakout of, let's say, a disease in another part of the city. At the same time, there is some order situation. Then what's the larger picture of the city all about? What should be the priority for city leader to dispatch what, where? What to act upon and where to act upon? How do you get a bigger picture? This is what big data is all about. Putting things together, having a look at bigger picture, with the capability to go deep and deep and deep, do a deep drill down as and when required. When we talk about smart cities, again, we can't do it in isolation. We need an ecosystem of partners and partnerships. So when I say partners, what I mean essentially is, it can't be one technology company, no, not only IT companies, not only IT companies or not only power companies, not only water supply automation companies. A lot of technologies, a lot of non-technology companies are required to work together to make our cities smarter. And there has to be a true partnership between people and the government, people and city administration, between city administration and technology providers, between city administration and solution providers, and all around true partnership to understand what are we trying to achieve and how would that be achieved. And this is what, I'll just take one slide on Microsoft CityNext. This is what we profess in our framework, which we call as Microsoft CityNext. So what we say is you transform the operations and infrastructure, you engage your people and accelerate innovation and opportunity. And then think about these 8 verticals, either they are in silos or they are not. Try to integrate them, try to bring out a bigger integrated picture so that people who are planning for the city, people who are making development plans, people who are executing plans, they get a larger integrated picture, and the decision which they take is not a decision taken based on a silo, it's a decision taken on an integrated picture. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. In the earlier